Hello everyone, I am Rajat Manro of class 8. I have made a presentation on the topic Judicial System of India. Today, in this topic, we'll learn what is judiciary, role of judicial system in India, independent judiciary, structure of courts in India, different branches of legal system, difference between criminal law and civil law, does everyone have the access to the courts, justice delayed is justice denied. Our first topic is what is judiciary? The judiciary is the system of courts that interprets and applies the law. The rule of law implies that every person is subject to the law, including people who are lawmakers, law enforcement officials, and judges. In this sense, it stands in contrast to tyranny or oligarchy, where the rulers are held above the law. Next, we'll read about the role of judicial system in India. Dispute resolution. The judicial system provides a mechanism for resolving disputes between citizens and the government, between two state governments, and between the center and state governments. Next is judicial review. As the final interpreter of the Constitution, the judiciary also has the power to strike down particular laws passed by the Parliament if it believes that these are a violation of the basic structure of the Constitution. This is called judicial review, upholding the law and enforcing fundamental rights. Every citizen of India can approach the Supreme Court or the High Court if they believe that their fundamental rights have been violated. Next is independent judiciary. Judicial independence is the concept that the judiciary should be independent from the other branches of government or the politician in office. That is, courts should not be subject to improper influence that from the other branches of government or from private or partisan interests. The control that the politician holds over the judge does not allow the judge to take an independent decision. This lack of independence would force the judge to make all judgments in favor of politician. One aspect of this independence is the separation of powers. It means that other branches of government, the legislature and the executive, cannot interfere in the work of the judiciary. The courts are not under government and do not act on their behalf. Next is structure of courts in India. The highest court is Supreme Court. Under the Constitution of India, the Supreme Court is the final court of appeal. Hence, as the Chief Justice of India, including 30 judges and other judges for advisory jurisdiction. Unsolved or still in dispute cases are leveled up to Supreme Court to retain justice. If the Supreme Court declares a law, it is binding on all other courts of all states and union territory. Next is High Court. Under the Constitution of India, every state should regard to one High Court. Mumbai High Court is the oldest High Court in India. High Court deals with economic issues and legal documentation. These courts also have an additional set of legal professionals. Next is District Court. Under the Constitution of India, District Court or subordinate courts are subordinate to the High Court. District courts are established according to the population distribution of the district and state. It looks after the civil and criminal matters of the district. A law declared by the district court is applicable to all subordinate courts. Next, we'll read about the powers of different courts in India. Supreme Court of India. Its decisions are binding on all courts. Can transfer judges of high courts. Can move cases from any court to itself. Can transfer cases from one high court to another. High Court can hear appeals from lower courts, can issue rates for restoring fundamental rights, can deal with cases within jurisdiction of the state, exercises superintendence and control over courts below it. District Court deals with cases arising in the district, consider appeals on decision given by the lower courts, decides cases involving serious criminal offences. Subordinate courts consider cases of civil and criminal nature. Next we'll read about the different branches of legal system. Apart from the above structure, which is this, there are also two branches of legal system, which are criminal law. These deal with committing of a crime by any citizen or entity. A criminal case starts when the local police file a crime report. The court finally decides on the matter. Civil law. These deal with disputes over the violation of the fundamental rights of a citizen. Supreme Court has three types of jurisdictions. They are original, appellate, and advisory. The jurisdiction of the Supreme Court are mentioned in Articles 131, 133, 136, and 143 of the Constitution. Now, we read about the difference between criminal law and civil law. Criminal law deals with conduct or acts that the law defines as offences, for example, theft, harassing a woman to bring more dowry, or murder. In civil law deals with any harm or injury to rights of individuals. For example, disputes relating to sale of land, purchase of goods, rent matters, or divorce cases. In criminal law, it usually begins with the lodging of an first information report known as FIR with the police who investigate the crime, after which a case is filed in the court. A petition has to be filed before the relevant court by the affected party only. In a rent matter, either the landlord or the tenant can file a case. In criminal law, if found guilty, the accused can be sent to jail and also fined. In civil law, the court gives the specific relief asked for. For instance, in a case between landlord and a tenant, the court can order the flat to be vacated and pending rent to be paid. Now, we read, does everyone have the access to the courts? All citizens of India can access the courts in this country. This means that every citizen has a right to justice through the courts. The courts are available for all in reality. Access to the courts has always been difficult for a vast majority of poor in India. Legal procedures involve a lot of money and paperwork as well as take up a great deal of time. In response to this, the Supreme Court in the early 1980s devised a mechanism of public interest litigation or PIL to increase access to the justice. It allowed any individual or organization to file a PIL in the High Court or Supreme Court on behalf of those whose rights were being violated. Now, we'll read about the phrase, justice delayed is justice denied, said by William E. Gladstone. The phrase justice delayed is justice denied is often used to characterize extended time period that courts take. However, in spite of this, there is no denying that the judiciary has played a crucial role in democratic India, serving as a check on the powers of the executive and the legislature, as well as in protecting the fundamental rights of citizens. Here, I've written some links from which I've gathered this information. Thank you.